Welcome to the Wake the Farm Up Maintaining Ground podcast. This is season 3. This is our first conversation. Getting this rolling with one of my permaculture pals, long time, Chris Smyth, Common Orchard. He's involved with a lot of things. He and I worked together with the Cincinnati Permaculture Institute for several years in multiple different kinds of ways. Wake the farm up. Audio experience brought to you by Wake the farm up. Come on, wake the farm up. All right, it's time to say it. Support our show. It's time for collaboration. Connect with us. Let's make this thing grow. Come on to the show. Support the show in many ways. Check out the footnotes. Check out the links in the footnotes. Check out Dr. Bionic. Check out Stefan 101. Check out Liz Virgo. Check out Ande the Elf. Farm consults. We got all kinds of things coming out. WakeTheFarmUp.com. Tune in. Check it out. We'll be at a live show near you sometime soon.
Okay. Touche. We're playing a game of Settlers of Catan here, and Chris just got the longest road.
Are we here to spill expert advice about settlers?
All right, everybody. This is the Wake the Farm Up podcast. This is a unique episode here, one-on-one with our dear friend, long time here. We're maintaining ground. You know, we try to maintain ground at least once in a while here over the years, if not in a year. You know, we'll try to hit at least a biannual event together somewhere. All right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, I'd like to welcome Chris Smyth.
Well, hey, everybody. Hey, Andy.
Calm down, everybody.
That's right. The people must calm down.
The people in the tea lounge are like they're even like up out of their seats right now, like they're sipping that tea that we were brewing, but like they're jumping up and down right now. Okay, what is that all about? All right, let's tell us a little bit, Chris Smyth. Why would you be on Wake the Farm Up podcast? I mean, I could do talking, but like I want to hear why you would be on Wake the Farm Up.
You could
podcast.
intro, yeah.
Come on.
Well, I mean, I'm waking lots of farms up.
Yeah, you are.
Because there were trying to activate vacant space in cities and urban places all over Ohio, and also some like old, not very well cared for, thought after pasture lands and soy, corn farms that are...
You said they were doing what to these places?
Just ignoring them, or just...
Who were...
The people.
The people.
Uh-huh.
The Homo sapiens that are alive today on the earth.
I don't know, man. Specifically, like, people sometimes doing conservation easements is just a strategy to make sure people don't build a building, but there's not a lot in there that guarantees that people are doing anything restorative or regenerative with the land. It's just like, let's do less harm by not adding more buildings or more subdivisions or...
Yeah, and just let it go completely feral on its own, like as if human existence didn't exist. And you get these like overgrown zones. And sometimes those are necessary in places, but a lot of these places you're talking about are places that are in areas that could be considered zones where humans could be interacting with the ecosystem there in a much more productive and interactive way than just letting it be separate from the human like system that's flowing around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like one of the most ridiculous and pervasive myth, lie, silliness that like if we take the people off the land then it gets better, and that hasn't been my experience. Maybe on like a 1,000-year timeline or something like that. And yeah, like you said, maybe some spaces need that, but if that's 98% of all we ever do, then I think we've missed the point.
Yeah.
I'd rather get people back on land engaging with it.
Yeah, knowing, like, learning how to interweave their life as part of the life of the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what ways do you feel have you found in the last several years here as, you know, teaching and being an educator? What kind of things and tools have you found that have been really productive and that means for you?
Well, as far as education, I teach a design course once a year, and that feels like it's just enough to keep that tool sharp. But it's often with some pretty younger people, college-age folk, and they just want like simple, practical things that they can do today. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are like renting or, you know, finishing their degree and doing this other stuff. So I find more being able to point them toward community gardens and food forests and public orchards and things like that is a inroad I can offer them to just have some more exposure to interacting, not just with like plants and animals, but also the people that are wanting to interact with those spaces.
Tell us about your organization called Common Orchard.
So the Common Orchard Project is great. It's nonprofit. I've been growing out for the first orchard we put in was about 2017. And at the time I was living and working in West Price Hill in my neighborhood, and I just got to eat a pecan off of this orchard, which was super exciting, that we planted some 5-6 years ago. And that was the first one, and then we've been kind of growing out the idea. I was kind of cobbling together a bunch of nonprofit type projects as a contractor in various ways, working with the Port Authority in Cincinnati, working with other folks who had like a couple $100 here, some money here, and just growing out the idea.
Cool.
And then I got connected with a group that looks at this stuff more nationally called Giving Grove.
Giving Grove?
Giving Grove. Yeah, they started out of Kansas City doing this kind of public orcharding kind of thing. About the same time I started this kind of work in 2013. But then as I was trying to do it, not just as community gardens, but really trying to hone in on community orchards to activate vacant lots and areas that people had just said, you know, the market doesn't have a solution for this, and this land is valueless, and it's in my neighborhood, and I find it quite valuable, or I would sure love more green space in my neighborhood. So I hooked up with Giving Grove, and they provided me with some funding to get started as like it's now a full-time thing for me. And we've helped plant about 30 different orchards, food forests here around Cincinnati.
How many?
About 30 now.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Some in Cleveland as well.
Starting since 2017?
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Most of it in these past, 3 years.
In Cleveland, how's that? What kind of things did you do in Cleveland?
So there's a group I started connecting with called Building Hope in the City. And they're this nonprofit that does a lot of things. Community development, some housing stuff. They run like a thrift store, some service-based things, some resident engagement and training, jobs, workforce development, all the random, wonderful nonprofit milieu. And in that one neighborhood, so they're in the Clark Fulton area, which is just south of Ohio City. And Ohio City is the massively gentrifying area, just of West Cleveland, and
even since the train wreck out northeast Ohio.
I would say everything's still gentrifying to some state, right? To some way. Cleveland's gentrification is happening way slower.
It's not that bad.
But Cincinnati's is just a little more pocketed and intense, I think. Mm-hmm. But in this one neighborhood just south of this rapidly changing area, there was 1,000 vacant lots in just this one neighborhood. And we had, at the time, at least the Port Authority had 1,000 in the whole city of Cincinnati. So that one neighborhood had a ton of lots that were just empty and mown. So they were trying to do affordable housing, but you can only get so many dollars at once. So I was pitching them and saying, hey, what if we made these orchards and they could be productive for 10, 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
And if you did 100 of them, then maybe in 10 years you could get, like 2 more lots, and, over that time you could put affordable housing units on any of these spaces. Or, any of the other 900 lots could be more affordable homes. So that's kind of what sparked that. And it was just being persistent and working with them. And I led some trainings with that crew. I'm actually talking with them tomorrow because I'm not up there. I'm spending a lot more of my time developing this program here near Cincinnati.
Okay.
But I do, we planted those in 2020 and one in spring of 21. So I want to continue to equip the people who are going to be guiding these orchards in how to care for them ongoing. And I'd be happy to at some point figure out how to do this more in other cities.
That's
and
cool.
Go back to Cleveland even.
Yeah, and help people do it in more cities for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, really
Wake the farm up.
the hope is working with people who want to build and design these things.
Well, yeah.
Andy, you need one of those little keypad things where the morning DJ thing.
Did you see it? That's what I got right there.
Oh yeah, that's
see,
great.
check it out. Swell, yeah. That's the green button.
Old school.
Yeah. See, then there's the yellow button. Mm-hmm. Wake the farm up.
Okay, so can I do that?
What the farm? That was the blue one.
Oh, don't press the blue one. Thank
you can press it. I love that
Okay.
one. Dude, press the red one. That's my favorite. Shut the farm
No!
up.
Oh,
dude,
so dangerous.
I don't use that one often, but sometimes I have to pull it out. So, yeah.
As long as you spend the time bleeping it.
Bleeping it, whatever you gotta do,
Good, man.
I don't want to hear people say farm too much.
I've been wondering, while we're on the subject of putting food forests in and stuff, what have you been up to with installing things and getting more trees and plants and people connected?
Well, definitely been producing more plants and starts for people. The food forest around my home is now at that state where propagation is very easy and almost just part of the yield of the forest at this point. And some things are even maintenance, the way I like to keep my elderberries. So I'll be topping them off again at, about 2 to 3 feet, depending on the site and how I've seen them grow in the sites before. Some areas I might even brush hog. I have different cycles where over on my family's land about 12 miles from here, that's where we'll just brush hog them every 3 years. Mm-hmm. So we have some food forests growing up there, old areas that used to be farm fields for me in the years I did farmers markets. Now there's, as you can imagine from walking around my land here, garlic everywhere. Remnants of years of growing garlic. It's just kind of become one of the weeds that are in the little food forest there, and pawpaw trees that have come up. So yeah, we've put oak trees in there as well too, just for a long term. It's going to be a forest someday. And it's the top of a hill where it's a nice 1.5 acre fenced in field, so it's already kind of everything out there that we can plant, which is protected. But from the deer, we try to keep an eye on holes. It's not a fence that we're watching every day or anything, but yeah, I've been getting a lot of other different things planted in here and there too. And definitely love encouraging and supporting people with doing food forest. There's a food forest I worked with down in Nashville, Tennessee, where we had it was the Olmsted at the time, but it's the Instead now. So, yeah.
Awesome. And
about to get electric forest this summer too.
There's a lot to propagate up there.
Yeah.
And I think it's...
Speaking of things like festivals too, so I wanted to bring up that with you.
Yeah, sure.
So I know I've still been working with summer camp all these years,
cool.
And we've developed all these different permanent installations, like a thatched roof outdoor classroom and the cob ovens and all the little structures around that, permanent gardens, little food forests, and there's I think it's cool. You were there the first year that I had gone there, and I don't know, just wanted to hear what your thoughts were on that first year. That was a pretty crazy year. It was like a shock adventure into a music festival, huh?
It was crazy. A thing I really loved, though, hanging out with you and Braden Trouth in the forest before people got there, before it was,
It was all quiet.
rushed by hundreds of people in tents and things. And we were just kind of like noticing the successional stage of that forest. Mm-hmm. It was pretty early for me in my own journey in permaculture, and was rich to like sit and hang out with you two, both like just doing observation, just like you're not here to build anything necessarily in that forest, but just like reading the landscape is something that I appreciated.
The stories that can come from that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's been neat watching a festival come and like in a certain perspective you watch like the footprints, it might even rain during the festival and there's like mud pits from the human traffic of walking over the same areas over and over, and you're just like, wow, how can the land like recover from that? But then once all the people are gone and the garbage is kind of picked up and things are cleaned up and the little extra fences are pulled down and it's just left alone again, it's amazing how quickly it recovers. It's almost like a buffalo herd came through.
Yep.
And it leaves it at a certain state that you don't get to see nature evolve to quite as much anymore without the buffalo herds freely roaming. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly. Wake the farm up, get more buffaloes, get more people, human stampedes.
I like the idea of more common land and less like fenced in. Like there's so many fences now. Mm-hmm. It's like between like my house in Cincinnati, like if you were to do a straight trajectory line, how many fences you would have to go through? A lot.
Yeah, unless you're walking straight on roads, which would not be an entirely enjoyable process.
Yeah.
Almost getting run over by cars going 60.
Yeah, semi trucks and stuff. Carrying fences.
Yep. To the next place.
Fresh recycled metal.
I remember
freshly rolled.
You had set up this demonstration thing there. That you found this like plexiglass thing. It was kind of like 3 sides plexiglass to demo, I think, a lasagna garden or something like that. And I thought that was fantastic. And actually, it reminded me of in my PDC in 2010, something that our crew had designed was like a more urban, smaller, intensive, and educational space. And one idea I was particularly excited about was taking a swale and doing like a crosscut.
Swale, yeah.
And putting like steps so people could like walk through the swale. And
swale, yeah.
If it were deep enough, then people could like look into like a plexiglass crosscut and actually like see what's happening with the swale. And we could demo like pouring some water into it and seeing things percolate.
Swale, yeah. Break the formal.
But now, for the most part, I don't apply swales anymore.
I can picture it, like even a cute little bridge going over it, and maybe some diorama stuff in there, like a nice.
Or yeah, we could draw. We could like paint on the thing and like
those drone photos that you were taking of my little Elfstead here, right? You were floating up there. You had a little thing up there, and you could see like. It almost looked like a little diorama, and you can make that with like moss, like in a little tiny area, and make like a little tiny house and stuff. Put like some little people walk around doing the same thing, and in the diorama,
There's have a tiny
miniature
diorama
swale.
Oh.
A miniature swale with the same little bridge, where you, like with some people looking down at, like you said, a tinier diorama. Yeah, and then it just goes in from there.
And then you mechanize one of those people so their head turns and like looks up at you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute.
Right when they see that, they turn and look up to like the sky, And, like that's when it happens.
Yep.
That's the pure magic of it. I love the magic of nature. It's like purely
That's the magic of nature.
Brought me into this whole spectrum of the whole thing, So yeah, we're excited. We're doing Wake the Farm Up show at summer camp this year in the Soul Patch.
Nice.
Yeah. So look forward to sharing that with you when that comes out, and yeah.
Yeah, who's doing that? Or like there are other folks that join in these years?
There's like last year I think there was like 60-something people that worked or contributed in the Soul Patch or something, some way. So, yeah, it's really grown into a family group, large thing. Yeah. Very supportive, wonderful people working together, supporting a lot of local community that are involved with the festival, and having gratitude. There's so much gratitude there for everybody. Just get so excited about working on these projects together. And you know, like when you see each other, it's the first time since you've seen some of them since a year ago.
Yeah.
Some of them have interacted with each other since then, of course, and you get to hear all the stories. And yeah, it's definitely a really good gathering. I love being there.
What's I mean, that's...
It's loud. It's very loud. There's
I'm sure, I mean, you're in the heart of it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you're not right next to a stage, or else it would get trampled by a stampede of humans.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get trampled by stampede of humans. Like our area, like you're looking at all kinds of interactive educational things we've done in the past. There's like areas in the past where we've had like hand cob making areas where you can even like rinse your arms and stuff, so you can walk away after doing it clean and
move on with
a lot of different like garden interactive kind of areas. And we also have workshops there now too, so there's like several scheduled workshops that are in the brochures and everything now. So they love what we do there since 2015. Yeah, thanks for being a part of that.
Yeah, I'm glad to have had some small stake in another public food forest that's doing cool stuff like that.
And it's great to learn from each other. I hope we can keep, maintaining ground over time and build lots of food forests and trade trees and plants and ideas. And
yeah, something that I'm working on right now in food forests is just better signage. Not just so all these 30 orchards or so, they've all got like different idiosyncrasies. Some are a little more private, some are at schools where it's maybe not great for like every random person to just be sneaking around to the back of the school. So they're all in different places, but I definitely want to get a sign on all of them, like here's the name of this place, or here's maybe how you can connect to whoever is also responsible for this and ask more questions. But I think I especially want to do is get we've got half of this teed up is little signs, either printed on PVC or like laminated, that say like what the fruit is and have a picture of it when it's ripe. So that's the kind of thing that like
you want that in like all your gardens that are urban gardens that are accessed by a lot of people.
Yeah,
I like that.
So people can know like, yeah, this is about the ripe range of this thing. So they aren't picking stuff that's, I
like the ones
not ripe enough.
Because a lot of people, especially in urban areas, have phones, but they have like a little scan code.
Little QR codes. Yeah. Yep, they'll all have QR codes.
So yeah, we've had those in the Soul Patch Gardens at summer camp for years now, and it's really shown a lot of interest in it, like just from people zooming in on these things, and connecting into it. Yeah.
That's great too, because once you get them into whatever the web page is for the QR, then you can like start sharing about other permaculture kind of things.
I get it too. Like when you go to a music festival, a lot of times you're not there for the permaculture classes.
Yeah.
But if it's a 4-day festival like that, maybe you'll take one. If it's a 4-day festival, maybe at some point you'll stroll through there and take a picture of some of these URL codes, because it seems like something you want to learn more about, but right then you're like, more intrigued by like the color coming out of your light, your flashlight. Like I didn't know it had a green setting too. It's like, I want to go show those guys. Hey guys, look, my flashlight has a green setting. It's like you're not totally like sitting down at a music festival like that, like with your encyclopedia out looking something up.
Yeah.
But it's there, it's available, and with these smartphones, people can plug it in and come back to it with the energy of a music festival and that excitement, in them. Like, I want to learn more about straw bale houses or whatever it was that they picked up on that was highlighted to them. Next thing you know, like, you're getting a call from them about an area in their neighborhood because they like heard about it from this podcast episode right now, and they heard about it because they saw us on the Soul Patch stage doing a Wake the Farm Up show.
Yeah, I've heard it takes 7 times 7 ways of mentioning something, of getting a message across where, you know, somebody hears about permaculture over here and then over here, then they read a book, then they, you know, have a meaningful relationship that cues them in. Like it takes all those things until it finally clicks.
Yeah, I go with my little saying, you know, there's things that I learned that when I was like 7, but you might not have learned them until you were 11. But there's things that you might have learned when you were 5 that I might not ever learn while I'm alive. Mm-hmm. You know? It also makes me think, isn't it called like the Kevin Bacon thing or something, right?
7 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 degrees of separation.
I've also heard like
sounds like the worst burn, you know. There's like the first
Ouch,
degree
7-degree
burn. You know, it goes all the way up to a 7-degree Kevin Bacon burn.
I think you're not there anymore. you are burned to a crisp. There's also like
even hell's scared of that shit.
A friend of mine who works in community development kind of stuff just talks about like different stages up on a mountaintop, like kind of on the hill of a relationship with your place. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it takes running into a person at this place, but you have to also see them over here. And that's what I think some of these spaces are. And it's not just, oh, that's Dale, and I've run into him 6 times, so now I might like get a beer with them.
Maybe we'll start a band.
Yeah. But it also going to be that way with ideas. We're like, wow, I had this transformative, interesting experience at summer camp. We're like, this seemed great, like these straw bale houses or whatever. And then I talked to a friend who was demoing that, and then I did a class, and just like all those little doses of it, I think is what actually gets you to the tipping point where you start to make some changes about that stuff and implement. And hopefully too, with what I'm trying to do is just providing more forum for those kind of things.
I like that. Yeah, create some kind of structures, some kind of patterns. I love the idea of patterns. Really looking at patterns, and you can travel to different ecosystems and see similar patterns. I was very fascinated, and you know, we've talked about food forests a bit here, but to go to the Sonoran Desert and see what is presented as a food forest there, it's very fascinating. It's a very different look, different structure, but the patterns are there. If that makes sense. But like the canopy is like saguaro cactuses, which take a long time to get that big. So slow growing, but certain plants there, fascinating flavors. Barrel cactus seeds are like just as scrumptious as like chia seeds that you would buy like at the health food grocery store or something, you know?
Mesquite,
oh my gosh, that buttery like desert sweet
flavor. Like that dry sweetness. Like where else do you get that?
It's like maybe maca root kind of comes close to it, but it has its own realm too. It's a very strong, unique plant flavor, that maca. But yeah, that mesquite, very strong, unique flavor in its own. That's like, you can do so much with that. There's trees, nitrogen fixers.
Inner bark.
These patterns.
Yeah. Heard about like Sami people making like birch and rosehip bread and just other like inner barks and whatnot.
Nice.
Not just like chaga and like stuff growing exteriorly on
like the
trees.
Actual bark of the birch tree though.
I think it's birch. I'm pretty sure.
Tell me how they make. Like what was it again?
Yeah, like not the outer bark, but the inner bark, and just like kind of
where it's moist.
Yeah, taking that and then drying or pulverizing it. Kind of, like I think it. Not
like a slippery elm, but a birch. Okay.
Some kind of birch that's northern.
I got a slippery elm around
Scandinavia,
here, and occasionally like one of them will fall somewhere, and it'll still be alive and fresh. So I'll skin into that. It's definitely one of my favorite weird things to eat. I say weird because the texture is like very unique, but just that acquiring of it. You know, the process of skinning off the outer layer bark of something, and then like you peel off this thing that like stringy, almost like white meat of turkey or something, you know?
Yeah, it's a bit like a flesh of some kind.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, this is on an episode of Woodlanders. I first heard this.
I don't know episodes of Woodlanders.
Woodlanders is a cool show. It's Costa I can't remember his last name.
Show,
Yeah, it's a web series, and it's all online and it's free on the website, Woodlanders. Woodlanders.com or something like that. Just look it up.
Check it out on your own.
Costa did the documentary for Inhabit, which is like a permaculture documentary about stuff, and he's got like 30 plus episodes of other just different cultures around the world who still relate to trees in kind of integral ways.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Really cool thing I've learned about recently is a tree that I want to go see. It's like a 600-year-old sassafras
Tell
tree
me about old trees. Let's talk about old trees. Really, sassafras in Kentucky.
Years old.
Let's go.
It's like 8 foot diameter or something.
I'll mission
like
for old trees all day.
I love old trees. Like pilgrimage. We should create the pilgrimage trail of old trees. Mm-hmm. And just like,
what's some of the oldest trees you've met?
Well, the trees I lived in Oregon.
See, I have very little experience with that, like Northern California, Oregon trees.
They were Doug firs. They were
so many
almost
old trees out
1,000
there.
years old.
Yeah.
Almost 1,000 years old. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That like, it's almost unfathomable. Like, so something to put it in perspective, I think it's the Carew Tower. That's the tallest tower in Cincinnati, Ohio, near us, right? Is 650 something feet, roughly around there, from what I remember.
I'll buy it.
These trees I were in at their tops were 300 and something feet.
Wow.
I was at, like, where I was camped, it was at 260 something feet. Like, just another Cincinnati reference, but there's the amusement park Kings Island that has that Eiffel Tower. It's like a miniature Eiffel Tower.
Yep.
That's about 260 feet tall.
Oh my gosh.
That's how tall that tree was in a forest of trees that tall.
That's so crazy.
It's like so hard for my mind to like fathom. I need to go back. I haven't been there in a long time.
Makes me feel like these oaks.
I need to feel what that. I don't remember it. It's like a memory, but it's not like it's like
it's
surreal.
A dream.
It's like a dream.
Was that a dream? Yeah. I stood in most recently one of the biggest, oldest trees I've hung out with was a 3,000-year-old yew in southwest England. And yew trees, I just had no idea really, because I grew up with yew in my front yard.
Yeah.
And I found them rather annoying as a child. So I just like went like, yew, those, whatever.
Filthy yew.
But like this tree, it was in like a graveyard in a church, which all the more reason why it didn't get destroyed in the war. But it's huge, and you could stand in it. Like, the center was hollowed out. And this is like 3,000 years of growth, and you like, you know,
I'd like to go to that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, yew trees, they've been a sacred tree in that part of the world for a long time. And a lot of the monks' abbeys and whatnot were built around ancient trees. Mm-hmm. So it's like, not only when Christianity came, but even before that, some of those trees were definitely holy trees to the Druidic people, the different Celtic cultures. Fascinating. Mm-hmm. You nailed it, man.
Yeah.
Those were the only bushes that grew around my place when I came here. And I chopped them right up.
Yeah, exactly.
I did save them, and I made stuff out of the wood. Mm-hmm. Made like a little bow drill for making fires with one. It's really good, flexible bow wood.
Yeah.
Were you going to say that?
I mean, hence why English bows were such a thing.
We just put our bow ties on. Just saying. Keep telling us about the English bows, though. You can do it with an English accent.
Such a weapon of war.
Can you do an English accent? Like, have you been there?
Did you know that?
Can you blend in? You blow? Come on.
An English bowman, like, altered their skeletal structure from working as being a bowman and like firing, and like the musculature changed from like how they are like pulling this very, heavy draw power.
The shape of their body.
Yeah. Like shoulders and spines, like all these things are like looking at skeletons of this stuff, and it's just like these people over time became different people for their job.
Yeah, speaking of, there's a thing, like, I don't know if it's like a well-known name for it, but I think it's perfect, called tech neck.
Yeah,
like
the C-shaped human.
Having to correct a lot of people's necks from the ways that we're working with our...
As both of us adjust ourselves a little bit, we're talking kind of toward a microphone and we're thinking about the
distributor
mic.
cap here is loose and going at us right now. I think my neck is totally tacked out. I think, what we do too, balancing in life, is organic movement where you're walking through a forest. That's one of the most organic movements because you're using your mind. You're at a place too, where you're analyzing not only like what species are around you, just because that happens to me. I can't help it. It's like if you read a language and you walk into a town full of signs, you're naturally going to know what they say without even consciously being like, I'm going to read these signs. So that's happening, and then you're feeling, what you're feeling. You're stepping over logs. You're aware of them. You're not just tripping through, like looking at your phone while you're walking through it, right? You're moving your whole body. You're picking up shovels and moving your body, exercising in different ways. And then at the end of the day, maybe you come back and you like record a podcast and like get a tech neck for a little bit. We gotta do these things to like move our bodies around.
Yeah, I think there are seasons...
Can't just be a bowman all the time.
Yeah, exactly. There are seasons that we as humans were able to do like one thing for a bit of time, like, sprinting on like it's nut harvest season and like we're going to do this for the next 2 weeks. But 10 months solid of that thing or 1 year solid, that is...
Yeah.
Or, decades, your entire life working out just that one part of your body. Yep.
Yeah.
Tech neck.
Yeah, tech neck. It'll be like marked in the bone shapes of our era.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yeah, this was the era where these foolish people were like so glued with their attention to their phones because they thought that's where people were.
There's like strange rectangular shapes that are like burnt into the bones around their eyes.
Gosh. Terrifying.
But hey, it's okay to use these devices to listen to cool audio experiences like this one.
Listen to this.
So, yeah, Chris, one other thing I definitely, there's a million things that we could talk about, and, it'd be lovely to, as the podcast grows and does different things, it'd be great to have you on the live show, too. Partially, like, something I'd love to bring out and hear about is about your experience doing improv comedy. It's something that I've always enjoyed just in our educational times together, teaching classes and whatnot together. It's something I've always enjoyed, those experiences, how we carried this funny banter and comedy together, and you're brilliant. Like, tell me about working with that.
I started doing improv when I was 15 years old in high school.
What the fuck?
So I've been doing improv more than anything else as a discipline in my life.
So you've just been improving ever since then?
It's a core part of my personality. Like it's, shaping a tree or whatever. Like whatever you did in those early years, that's a big part of who it is today. And that for me, especially in like high school, that was like pretty core to.
So like you performed as doing improv in high school. Cool.
Yep. I started in 10th grade and auditioned. We had our teacher, Missy Whitus, just moved to our school and had some experience with the SAC Comedy Lab in Florida. That's where Wayne Brady is from. So she came and opened up, like it's a small high school. It was like 100 people in my graduating class.
Is Wayne Brady related to the football guy?
No, quite unrelated.
No.
Yeah, very unrelated.
No, that's Burrows. Burrows.
Burrows.
There's a Brady too, though, right?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Yeah.
Wayne Brady is black. And
okay.
Tom Brady's pretty white.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I auditioned for that and got in and did that for years. And even with that high school crew, we performed with a local group of adults. And we like tore it up. We had a great show alongside this other adult crew, and that was like really encouraging too. It wasn't at all like, oh yeah, the weird high schoolers, and we're gonna give them some stage time. It was like, no, like we that audience loved it.
Nice.
I haven't been doing it at all really since the pandemic first hit. That pandemic.
I remember when that pandemic came.
And
all there was garlic and there wasn't any bacon.
that's your memory of the pandemic. Garlic and bacon.
My neighbors came and took all my toilet paper.
Yeah.
I had to cancel my tickets.
Yes.
All of my tickets. I was going to go to 12 different countries.
Yeah. Who would have guessed that maybe like
Get out of here, Houston Doodle.
Improv
Sorry,
and
that
just
was one of the characters that like comes to the show sometimes.
Okay.
He eats a lot of things.
He's
He's always pissed when the pandemic comes up. He gets pissed. Sorry.
right. That makes sense. We all got pissed. Yeah, so I haven't done anything since in the past 3 years, and I've been just too preoccupied with some other stuff right now. So
Yeah, I think when the pandemic came for me as well, like I got really busy. Like
it rattled a lot.
people calling every day, saying like, "Hey, can you help me grow food in my backyard?" Like, "Hey, how easy is it to learn foraging?" You know, like I want to know how to eat some of the foods around me. You know, giving people pointers as much as I could, but yeah, I kept really busy. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of, it feels like that Willy Wonka moment of like where he's in the tunnel on the river and just like everything's getting faster and faster. It just seems to
You know
never
when
stop.
the best time to plant a fruit tree is, right?
10 years ago.
Yeah, you know when the best time to get a farm up consult is, right?
10 years ago.
Yeah, and this dude right
At
here,
least.
this dude right here did that at least 10 years ago. if
Yeah.
not More.
Yep, I was here 12 years ago on your land.
Bam.
Maybe 11 years ago, hanging out and getting some firsthand knowledge.
You saw my yew trees.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember those views actually. Now that you say it, we were working on your foundation. That's a thing that that I often say to students, and maybe this is true of improv or other stuff too. But like if same like you should have looked at this 10 years ago and like planted these trees. But I would say immediate advice for folks is like be the kind of person who shows up. Be the kind of person who makes a call and goes and helps someone and goes to that community garden day or that little workshop or that kiosk at the Soul Patch. Like
Lend that encouragement and support.
yeah. I think that the little effect of those just little drops in the bucket over time, the more and more you make that real, the more and more, like the people that I see around that I really respect are the kind of people who keep showing up. And especially if they're like just kind of getting going and learning all this stuff, there are folks that I'm like, where'd that person go? And it's totally fine to like have
People
lives
come
that
and
take you
go.
elsewhere. That's
Yeah.
But like there are people in the
Circles.
world, in my world, who are like, yeah, that person, they keep showing up and they're getting better at everything they're trying to do.
Sharp.
Yeah. And that's the same for improv. I think improv to me is a practice of presence where you are kind of
I
required.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. You are present, but you have like fiction about you.
Yeah.
You've got something you're trying to do and you're kind of working with an immediate time frame that has a very clear end. Like the scene's over and you get to be somebody entirely different
you wanna
for
do
5
that?
minutes.
Do you want to do that for a few minutes? Here?
You want to? We'll see if this makes it on the podcast.
So we can even improv our like little scenario. So
How about let's just start with a word instead of scripting out. You just like get yourself a word.
okay. What's one of the key words we want to jump on?
What's a word of something we were like looking at today?
Let's look at a word that, you know, maybe somebody like folding their laundry or going on a jog
This
right
isn't
now.
a word no more. This is a whole scene you're mapping
It's
out,
like,
Andy.
is going to relate. We want all these people to relate with it. It's not laying out the scene. It's not the word. Like, mark my word.
You want to say the word laundry?
When we come up with a word.
You want to go with laundry?
Mark my word. When we come up with a word.
You got a lot of words here,
It's
Andy.
good. Wait, mark my word. Hey, can you turn that repeat thing off? Yeah, okay. Laundry.
Laundry, that's the word. Cool.
All right, get out your laundry list.
Hey, Dad,
Yeah.
I'm not folding the laundry anymore.
It's all right. I don't like it folded anyway. That was your dog that wanted it folded.
Pebbles can come to me with his tasks. I have a previous agreement with Pebbles about any chore he requires. But Dad, I think you wanted me to fold this laundry.
I didn't need you to fold the laundry. I don't even wash the clothes. I just take it and throw it in a bin anyway, even when you fold it. And I take it up to the thrift store and I give it to them. And then I go and pick up some new clothes because they told me they wash them before they put them on the rack. So I just figured that was easier than washing clothes, and it costs probably less than I'm saving water, son. I'm doing the environmental thing like you wanted me to.
Dad, you don't have to convince me. It's okay if you just want me to do some laundry.
I've been recycling too.
I know you've been changing a lot.
Yeah, all the cans of Coke are actually just refilled up. I filled them all back up with Coke.
Oh, they're filled with Coke?
That's right, son.
I thought it was water. I've been drinking 4 a day.
You remember my friend? He brought it up.
No wonder my leg won't stop twitching.
Oh, did you think that was laundry detergent?
No, I didn't drink the laundry detergent, Dad, just the Coke.
Okay, good. 'Cause, yeah, I wouldn't drink that laundry detergent.
Listen, Dad.
I've been listening. I'm a good dad. I'm just a really good dad.
You just need a hobby, I think. I think you need something to do with your time.
What do you think I should do with my time, son?
I know it's been hard.
I know laundry, but I know it's been hard. Like folding it.
I know it's been hard since Mom took on that new job and you're here alone and she makes so much money that you don't need to work.
I know it sucks that your dad lives in your grandmother's basement. I know.
But I figured, look.
You can call her grandmother around me. I just want you to know that. I know I call her mom all the time still, but you can call her grandmother.
Dad, I got you this ship in a bottle.
Really?
Well, it's not in the bottle yet. You got to put it in the bottle, but like that's the point.
Oh, look at that.
And I think if you learned this skill of putting ships in bottles, then you could find the right time to find something else in life. But just start with this.
Okay. Thank you, son. 3 weeks later.
Oh no! Oh, son! Dad, what the
Can you hear
hell?
me?
Oh no!
I'm out at high sea. I'm on a ship right now.
Dad!
There's a storm coming in. It's a code red.
I did not expect this.
There's an emergency there, but it's okay. We've been drinking a lot.
Can't you just do simple things?
I've been making a lot of bottles, son. A lot of bottles. We've been emptying them with these seamen out here. We're totally... We got cases and cases of bottles to fill, but I'm on a ship.
Don't die, Dad. I still need you.
I'll die. I don't think I'll die. I don't think I even can.
Dad, the weather looks really bad out there. You better bring it in.
3 weeks later.
My dad was a good man. Thank you for that funeral piano playing.
Daddy.
My dad was a great man.
Daddy.
He
Daddy.
just listen, I'm giving the eulogy right now, sweetie. I need you to sit down.
Okay, Daddy.
Just sit down in the first row, honey.
Oh my God, Daddy.
My-
Daddy, you need a hobby.
My father
You need a hobby, Daddy. Wait, you just gotta sit around talking about your father
This
all
is
the time.
not-
You've been doing that like the whole time.
While
I've been
giving a
here.
eulogy, this is not the time to have this conversation.
Well, you told me to cut the yew tree down. You told me to cut the yew tree down, Daddy. And then you did. You didn't talk about your father again. You need a hobby.
So
You should make both.
Dad was a man of the sea, and he has henceforth returned to the sea. We'll miss him greatly. Though he lives on in our children, and when those
Daddy.
children grow up and have their own children
Daddy.
who can annoy them during critical moments of their life.
Hey, Daddy,
What?
did you finish your eulogy?
No, I'm still working on it.
Daddy, when are you gonna be done?
Would you like to give the rest of this eulogy about your grandpa?
Yeah. Okay, so my grandpa was really cool, and we really liked him, and he had a lot of fun. Apparently, he was drunk a lot of the last few days of his life, but he had a big smile. We got a picture of him that he sent to us on Instagram. You know, apparently when I was born, he was instantly a grandparent, and so he sent all these pictures of his Instagram to me. I'm 3 now, 3 weeks old. Yeah.
That was a great eulogy.
Thank you, Daddy. Can we go get biscuits now?
Yes, we can go get biscuits now.
All right.
That's cool, yeah. I don't even know where that all came from, but yeah, I love that. Like, do you think I can do that? What are you talking about, dude? I just did.
I think you could do it, Andy.
It's like, what, did we shift back to a different headspace now where it's like, yeah, now I have to think about reality again? Yeah, so we need to wrap this show up here sometime shortly. So is there any other serious topics I really want to get into here with? Yeah, that was fun. I love doing that kind of thing. I could see how you could have gotten into that at a young age.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I knew the concept of it existed other than, you know, like classic comedy groups like Saturday Night Live kind of stuff or something, you know, like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, never as a kid, you know, had the informational access that kids have now to learn about how people find their way into those places. It's fascinating.
Yeah,
It's funny.
I only would have had it. I only did have it because of a teacher that moved to our school, or else I would have just, I don't know, done something else. I would have been on tech crew
Yeah.
instead of performing and things. It would have been a very different story for me.
Yeah, and then you got to do, you know, this is such a wake the farm up story, people. Like, this guy, like, gets to do serious stuff.
Serious.
Serious.
Super serious.
Like, look at the letterhead on that.
Yeah, check out that letterhead.
See the size of that Google Doc file.
It's embossed.
Dang. He even let me have access.
Uh-huh.
Damn, I'm going to add some shit to that.
Oh no, my Google Docs. My spreadsheets.
They're spreading information. Yeah, it's great, man. It's really fun just like chopping it up with you. I know we've done some cool serious stuff in the past. We'll do some serious stuff in the future.
Well, now we gotta find a big tree.
I definitely want to do some serious funny shit with you, dude. I want to help wake the, you know, improv comedy up in you. I remember one time, like, we were in this large group up in Michigan. It was a teacher training.
Yeah.
With Peter Bain, right?
Yep.
And I put my pen inside my beard.
That's right.
And, like, you looked across the room from me and pulled the same pins that they had given us, you know, like, out of your beard.
Yes.
I was just like, whoa.
Our minds melded in a Vulcan mind meld moment.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those connected, like, magic moments, you know? Humor has, like, a realm of magic and connection, yeah. I love that part. You know that. So, what else? Where are you going to go? What are you going to be doing in the next near here spring?
I'm growing lots of plants.
What's something involved in all of it that you're really looking forward to and you're excited about and you want to share with us?
2 projects.
We'll kick you out with some mushroom tea or something.
I'm growing lots of plants. I just, Monday, a week ago, I'm scheming on growing more chestnuts in situ, like in the field, as a seed nut. And so we're piloting. We did like 90 trees, and we're trying to figure out how to do that. So we can do thousands and thousands like that in a field. And then I'm also starting like 1,000 or so chestnuts that we'll plant out at future farms with the Southern Ohio Chestnut Company. But then I'm also propagating a bunch of perennials and stuff for these public orchards. So that's like a big chunk of my time right now.
Nursing it up time. Yep.
This is the time.
Yep.
It's fun work too, getting to like hang out with all different kind of plant.
It's cool work to like listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Like while you're planting out
Great
stuff. And
great podcast.
You're like, I'm gonna put this little cutting in here. Dink dink. I'm gonna put this little cutting in here. Dink dink. 10 minutes later, gonna put this cutting in here. Dink dink. Yeah.
Yep, grafting. Be grafting pawpaw, persimmon, bitternut hickory, apple, and pear are the main things I'm grafting this year, this spring. In about a month, we'll start that.
Nice.
Yeah. And then also, like, just fun. I'm building a sauna with a friend in my backyard.
Nah.
Yeah.
Sauna. No. That sounds hot.
Yeah. Yeah, we figured out a mobile sauna setup with like a camping, cooking stove situation and an ice fishing tent that we've already got working for like festivals and other like big planting days that we do.
Wait, you go ice fishing at a festival?
Well, with no ice, just on the land, but it's just a little more insulated, so it helps keep the heat in for the sauna of it all.
Got you.
Ice fishing
I don't
tent,
know why
no
my
ice
brain,
fishing.
like the way I heard you describe it, like all of a sudden, aside
If we
from
had a sauna
like
in
the, aside from the sauna,
lake.
you were like ice fishing too at the same time.
We're just melting
It's
our
like,
way into the lake.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
When you get fully wet, then it's just an ice plunge.
But you were talking about how it moves, so I was picturing it could like go out there and you could ice fish in it, then you could roll it back to land at night, and then like it's a sauna.
Yeah.
Or you could even, I would imagine at that point, maybe you could retrofit it so that you could even smoke fish in it or something.
Yeah,
you know?
why not?
And then next day you come in, it smells like smoked fish, which I find very pleasurable smell.
Yeah, and then just take the tent off and like, then you can take the fish out.
Like
break them down.
Smoke it with some of the cuttings off of some of your bitternut hickory or something, you know?
Yeah.
Some apple chips.
Ooh, some spiceberry bush twigs.
Yeah.
Burn that.
Now we're smoking.
Now we're smoking some fish.
Yeah. I like me some smoked fish. I got friends that have made some pretty amazing good fish, just like right out of their ponds and smoked. They got their little smoker setups. It's definitely something I'd like to annex to the Elftopia here of this place, you know, smoking place, and just like hang out, listen to fish music, and just smoke all you want.
Smoke all the smokes.
That sounded like it crossed somewhere else there for a second. Like if you edited that clip, it would totally sound like it's some other conversation.
People are coming for you, Andy.
I'm not gonna hide.
I'm gonna edit your words.
I'm not gonna hide hydroponic. I'm not gonna hide hydroponic. Hydroponic not gonna hide me.
Joe Ponick.
Nope.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, I used to have cups of coffee in the morning, but recently I haven't been going to the grocery store, man. And it's interesting.
Right, because people are guilting you out of going to the grocery store.
I'm like, I got some yapun I harvested down south. It's got a little caffeine in it, so I'm
Yapun's
weaning
good.
myself off caffeine with some of these, like, I mean, that's a native caffeine source. I think the only North American source of consumable caffeine I know of. Unless you know any others.
Not that's real, but it's like, yeah, worth it.
Well, look at all these people. They love the show. They love that you could be here with us today.
I see them.
They want more, you know. So I hope we can wake the farm up again with you some more and like get you into one of our live show experiences. People get to experience some of your improv comedy, you know. We could even interject it like we've always done with our permaculture classes, you know, and you just teach some stuff together somehow with like, we'll be characters, you know, like I could be a permaculture teacher character that's like, you know, 7 feet tall and yellow and from another planet, and I came to the earth to study permaculture. So I heard it was a method that worked really well for the earthlings. And I think that you can tell me something about it, Chris. Can you tell me something about it?
I probably can.
Right, we'll get to that.
Great, we'll
Sometime
get to it.
in these light years to come. So yeah, last words for these fine people?
Nothing. Just thanks for having me on and for riffing.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. Good night. Come in, commanders, come in. You are all the commanders now.
Yeah, everybody go check out Chris Smyth on like Facebook or Instagram or social media and connect with him somewhere. Maybe check him out at some event where you'll see him, doing some work with chestnuts or grafting fruit trees or something cool like that, some kind of common orchard theme. Oh, keep it coming back to the Wake the Farm Up, Maintaining Ground podcast show. We got so much more to go. Some amazing things coming, I know. So come back to the show sometime. Maybe if you haven't heard them all, you can go back and hit rewind and go to another time. We're time traveling now. We've been going through the ages. We've been going through the pages. Setting you up so you can be your own wizards and mages. Is your time now.
I said, I don't even know what I said.
Okay.
So how is your hiking different from
like how's my hiking
unique to you?
in observation and exploration and gadgetry and gear, which I would require, and snacks and trail treats, and you often see people have their like little lists and itineraries for their hiking adventure, right?
Yeah, right.
Like for me, I like an itinerary that's erased for as long as time as I can possible. Like 8-hour segments are great,
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing
Get
that
out
would
there, see where.
So you asked me like what would make mine different, and it's like my hiking experience that would be different than like one that you would like find in a brochure at REI or some other itinerary or list building hiking technique or some sort of gear technique for a different hiking that involves bouldering or this or that. It's just unique, and you can tune into the Wake the Farm Up podcast and listen for a while and maybe kind of get an idea of what it's like to be me and my own unique hiking technique. But once you do tune in for a while, you'll probably figure out what your own unique hiking technique is like, and you won't even worry about what mine is. You'll just, be happy about yours. Yeah.
Yeah, I am happy with my hiking technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Me too. I love my hiking technique. So again, like the 8-hour segments are definitely really nice for me in my way, just to be able to like be open to walking and exploring. I'm not even like I'm thinking about what's in season, what could be found potentially, and kind of having an eye out for those things. But I'm not like going out intentionally, like I'm going to this patch to go and get 50 pounds of this or that. I feel like, there's some people that like to hike like that. Me, it's a little more like, what gift does nature want to give me today? What phenoms?
Yes. And when I'm hiking, I think that same way, like, what am I going to see today that nature provides for me, or what's coming out? What's the insects or the birds or whatever that's going to be out there?
Yeah, who's moved back from a migration, or which one of our buddies are opening up right now?
Yeah, who's popping up? Who are we going to see?
Pop, look what's coming up now. Cool. Well, hiking.
Yeah.
Wake the farm up!